Everyone's unmuted now.
Welcome to Are you guys done? Welcome to WeTaku Anime Reviews. I'm your host, Jovan, who has his current doctorate in weebology, specifically with a focus on shonen bullshit. And my three hosts are...
Thomas. I like more experimental things. Yeah, I changed it up for this one. I like experimental things and... yeah, that's all, I guess. Next.
I'm Steven. I like weird things like Picano.
Okay. I'm Allan. I'm not going to say psychological again because that is definitely what you guys are not seeing from me for the next couple weeks. Next couple
and I hate
my
you
turns.
For it.
Look. This was my choice.
And his choice was Shirobako. For those of you who don't know, Shirobako is an anime about a bunch of girls from their high school animation club who decide that in the future they'll all pursue careers in anime so that they can all one day work together to form an animation studio, I think is their goal, and to make their own anime at the end of the day.
Yeah.
On a side note,
that's all I got.
I think I'm going to give Allan his degree in weebology in slice of life.
I think I'll do the same and then hate him for it. I'll also scold Thomas for changing his major without warning anybody.
That's what I did in real life, too.
Too real.
No. The real reason why I'm choosing so many slice of lives is because everyone else is not choosing slice of lives. Except for Thomas.
Steven, thanks for not taking me down with you. So, Shirobako was made by a studio.
PA Works.
PA Works?
It is by PA Works.
That makes a lot of sense. And I don't think I can actually say anything other than what I just said, not because I'm worried about spoilers, but because that's it.
It's mostly about their work life.
Yeah, so this is a slice of life in the true sense of the word, in that there's not really a plot, but
the plot is to get to the end of each anime. They end up making two different animes throughout the show, and it's just about hitting the deadline on time.
It's basically just hitting the deadline. You're watching them live as they work, and I guess the biggest difference is this does not take place in a high school. This takes place in a career area place. Adults.
In an actual studio.
Does that mean we get away from traditional Japanese archetypes?
Nope.
No.
I mean, we didn't have a cultural festival, though, so that was cool.
Nice.
That is, I think they considered a cultural festival once where it wouldn't fit in one of their anime though, like one of their merchandise guys.
I'm 90% sure that they did have a cultural festival.
Don't worry.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, there was a cultural festival. We saw
it's
one.
kind of
like,
a spoiler, but yeah, it's in a flashback.
When they were in high school, there was a cultural festival. Never mind. No, we hit all the tropes.
All right,
every single trope.
Never mind.
All right. So without further ado, let's hit our scores so we can discuss it with all of the spoilers that don't really happen. First things first, story. Like I said, to me, this is just a true slice of life in that you're just kind of watching them finish anime and then start a new anime and then finish the anime. It's, I guess, supposed to be a character-driven show, so with that in mind, the story didn't keep me engaged whatsoever, and I'll admit I got bored of the show very fast, so I'm just giving it a 6 out of 10.
I also thought it was slow. I thought it had some purpose, though, a little more purpose than it seems Jovan has, but we are about the same level when it comes to the actual rating. I also gave it a 6. I guess we'll get into it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's a slice of life, but I think you have to review it as though it's a slice of life, if that makes sense. So I thought that it showed their struggles while they were going through the anime pretty well. And in my opinion, it had more of a plot than slice of life typically do because, hey, at least they were working towards something. So I actually really thought the story... I can understand it not being too engaging, and yes, it was slow at times, which is why I didn't give it higher. But overall, I thought it was pretty good, and I gave it an 8.
Yeah, I thought that as far as slice of lives go, it's not necessarily a true slice of life in the sense that you're literally just watching people live. Um, but it's more of like a workplace drama, if that makes sense. You follow the 5 girls, and like
Some of them more so than others.
really, it's mostly about them like making their way up in the world, and because of that, like I gave it an 8 as well. So I thought it did it really well.
Some of the plot points were very weak to me, but we'll get into that later. Characters. This is where the story's supposed to thrive. I say supposed to because I will be completely honest. I think I cared about roughly 1.5 characters in the entirety of the show. And even them because they were kind of cute and they didn't give up. And I was like, well, that's something, I guess. But I didn't care about any of their problems because they all just felt like, I don't know, you knew it was going to go away. Like, of course it was. And I guess that's not. You can expect that of basically any anime that, like, the problem's going to go away, they're going to solve it, whatever, right? Anime were very predictable genre here. But at the same time, there was, like, no drama to hold me in. There was nothing that made me really care about them. And I've never been super into moe, which this at least skirted the line if it wasn't full-heartedly. So I didn't really care for the characters either, with another 6 out of 10.
I'm just gonna drink my tea sadly.
So, as far as characters are concerned, I thought it. So at first, the first episode just bombards you with so many
A
characters.
crap ton of characters.
But I do like that every time, every episode, it starts it with their name and what they do, and every episode, whenever it shows a new character for that episode, it has that. And I felt that was really helpful in keeping along with it. But yeah, yes, there were quite a few characters, but I think that they still gave a good amount of time to each one for them to each have their own personality. But they weren't. I didn't really care for anyone. If anything bad were to happen to them, I would kind of just shrug and be like, "Hey." I gave them an 8, which is good, but there was definitely room for improvement.
Okay, Thomas like took the words out of my mouth with like they all had a personality, and I felt attached to all of them actually. Especially the my thing with it is that a lot of characters got more time than some other characters that I would have liked to see get more time.
I really wanted more Zuka.
Yeah. So most of the characters were fleshed out pretty well, though. You saw a lot of the majority of the major characters, and I really felt like each of them was very unique, had a very unique personality, and I liked them a lot. I gave them an 8.
All right. I actually have a rant about this that's coming in the spoiler section. I have given them an inflated score of 9. I don't actually believe that it's going, like, if I were to just say a score, it would probably be an 8 as well. But because of the topic that I am going to be talking about later in the spoiler section, I gave it a +1.
I look forward to seeing that rant.
I-
I guess it should also be said for my part that in the second half of the show, more characters did get time, especially after the first half of the show where you really just kind of followed 1.5. And I don't think you guys can doubt me on that one. In the second half of the show, more characters got time as they all started working together, but I guess we'll get into that later. What's next? Is that animation?
Yes.
All right. Fun little thing that Allan actually pointed out to me a few days ago. The shows that they make are better animated than the actual show we are watching.
I don't have anything to say, really.
You're not wrong.
It's like this really gray area, right? Where it's still in the show. They still had to animate it as the
But
show,
it's also
but it's,
not the show.
I want to talk about the never mind. We'll get to it.
All right, 7.
I gave animation an 8. I thought, well, maybe not necessarily animation, but the looks. I loved the color palette. It was bright, which helps develop its style, but its colors, each character seemed to stick to a single type of color, except for Lowly Goth, who kind of like changed her color palette for some reason. It was weird, but everyone seemed to like stick more or less within their own thing, which also helped keep my mind like, this is that character, this is what they do, and I don't know, that helped. The CGI looked pretty good, and that's all I'll have to say about that right now.
So I feel like I'm saying this in every episode of this we do, but the character designs were pretty great in my opinion. The main girl kind of was generic, but I think outside of that, a lot of them were very unique. And I guess we'll go into more detail about all of the characters, but they all had something about them that made them special, in my opinion, and that does a lot for me. And as Thomas said, the CGI was he said good. I think it was exceptional, like better than most things I see. And that's the CG of the show as well as the shows they're making. And it was bright. It was colorful. I will say a lot of it looked kind of generic, I guess, on like when you're looking at it more broadly. But you can get into those little details like the characters and then like the facial expressions they make, the CG. I think it stood out a lot and did a lot really, really well. So I gave it a 9.
okay. Most of what I have to say has already been said, especially the one thing that I pointed out to Jovan. So I gave it a 7. Yeah.
I think I should also say one more thing, is that I did like, when talking about character designs, I didn't really think about that when putting in my score. But I did like the fact that they always wore different outfits, which is just a little thing. But thank you, show.
But stayed within their color palettes.
That is true.
Which was also awesome. I also liked how the main character girl had the you could see her roots because she dyes her hair, and I've never seen a character with her roots shown.
I didn't notice that.
I would also like to say, besides the 5 main girls, every other character has a distinct face. Like, there is no same face syndrome except for the women.
Except for the 5 main girls who all look the exact same.
Which is really surprising because a lot of anime give their characters the exact same face with like different color palettes and like slightly longer or shorter hair.
Now, if only the main characters didn't do that.
But I mean, I think they probably did that on purpose. Like, not to say the main characters didn't matter as much, but like they're going to be more memorable in the long run. So I think they did more to make the other characters memorable as well.
All right, so sound. I give it a solid I didn't like the openings very much at all. I didn't like the endings, like considerably less than I even liked the openings. The in-show was fine. It did its job. I did get like a little bit touchy when they were finishing up Exodus and when they were first starting Exodus and trying to figure out what they wanted to do. I think the music matched those well. I don't think they ever hit that point again, even playing the same songs for Aerial Girls. It just didn't really have the same impact on me, I guess. So, out of 10, 6.5, I think. Solid out of 10.
Felt similar. It did its job, and so just by doing its job, it gets a 5 on my account. But I did think it. I don't know why I didn't give it 5. I gave it 6. It was more than maybe a little. But
with a
so
question
so so
mark.
it did more than its job in that like it did sound good. The voice actors like they had feeling, especially like the voice actors within the show did very well. Did better than the actual show did. And like in the auditions and stuff, I really liked their auditions for some reason. That was probably my favorite part of the show. And then I am so glad that the first opening in the show, in the first episode, they had like the car chase scene. I'm so glad they did not use that song again, unless they used the end theme because I didn't really pay attention to the.
That's
ending.
the opening to Exodus.
Oh yeah. Hate it.
We didn't have to watch on the Exodus. It's okay.
So 6.
There actually is an OVA where it's the first episode of Exodus.
I saw that and then chose not to watch it.
I'm gonna watch that. All right, here's where everyone's gonna disagree with me. I guess I gave Sound a 10. I thought the voice acting was exceptional. Like especially like the director, like he was great all around. I thought the voice acting was exceptional. I'm sorry, Thomas.
Thomas's face.
When your eyebrows
It's
can't
just
go
like-
any further, you bring them further.
The music fit the mood really well all the time, in my opinion. Even that one weird cowboy scene that happened.
Did that happen?
I know, but they played the whole Western music there, and like it fit, you know. Like, I liked the openings, I guess, but the endings were kind of eh. But the music overall, like during the show, I thought was very good. I thought the voice acting was exceptional, and then a lot of the tiny like sound details, like going into a room and being able to hear the air condition, like there were a lot of those things, and I thought they did really, really well with sound. There was another point I was going to make here. The Andy's Chucky theme song I liked a lot.
That was amazing.
I
Okay.
did.
I think. Wait, time out. I'm just gonna give my scores for Andy's Chucky really fast. 10, 10, 10. Andy's Chucky, I would watch the heck out of. Because that every Andy's Chucky little moment, and we didn't get that much.
How many?
But I loved Andy's Chucky.
How many made-up shows were there in this show?
I think at least 6.
It's Chucky, Exodus, Aerial Girls. Does New Generation Evangelion count? Because if so, all right, of course.
Like,
And
The Madoka clone.
Oh, the Madoka clone, yeah.
There was Space Neighbor.
There was
Oh, there was Gundam.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was
Ida
Gundam.
Pun.
Ida Pun.
Oh yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
There, at like the very first episode, there were also like I think 2 more mentioned that are like airing series at the same time as Exodus that I don't think were ever mentioned ever again.
There's also
we
another
talked about
one.
the other studios that are working on the other anime, right?
Yeah.
The old guys working on
Yeah.
the other thing too.
They mention a lot.
Canon, Ghibli.
Yeah. Anyway, Allan sound.
I give it a 7. I do think they did really well with it. I noticed a lot of silence though, and silence does help, but when you use it too much, it sort of loses its impact. A lot of the silence was when people were talking, which I think could have used a soundtrack. I don't know. 7.
All right, and with that in mind, we will be going into our spoiler section in 5, 4, 3, 2. Now spoilers. Who is best girl?
I'll say my second best girl because I know you have the same best girl, Jovan.
You don't know me.
Don't I? Didn't you?
I liked the brown hair girl that helped out the twin tail girl with the cat. I liked her. Obviously, she didn't have enough impact for me to care enough to know her name, but I liked
Brown
her.
hair, twin tails, cat.
The one.
She didn't have a twin tail. She helped main character.
Oh, she helped. I was about to say Emmy doesn't have brown hair, so I'm
Glasses,
confused. Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Glasses.
she did character design for Aerial Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
all right.
non-goth
She was-
lolly senior animator.
Well, not the goth one.
Yeah, the non-goth lolly.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Alan, I thought you were saying your best girl is Goth Lolly.
No, that's my
right.
second best girl.
my best girl, I kind of want to say Kano-san, but also I can't really justify that because we didn't see much of her. I think I just like her because she was a dick to Taro-san and he deserved it.
I mean,
But maybe main girl actually.
shame aside.
I think it has to be main girl.
For me, it was. I have two answers. My first answer is not Taro. Worst girl was Taro. This show would have been infinitely better had I not had to deal with the existence of Taro. When half of your show's plot problems come from the fact that Taro just goofed up again, and nobody will ever fire him for whatever reason.
Wait, I'm changing mine. Director.
The director.
Without a doubt.
Kuragi-san.
I'm sorry.
Never
Never
Kuragi-san.
forget all the rest. Only him.
I forgot that best girl does not just mean girls.
You do this every week.
Yeah, but
I
no,
do.
I'm gonna stay with it. I liked the characters, but I just felt like I like characters that force characterization in other characters, and that's why.
That's fair. She did do that. Alright, my best girls were either Zuka for her attempts to matter.
Trying.
She never quite got there, in all honesty.
Hey, she got that minor voice acting role.
She had
Like I said, I did like her, like when she was just part of the crowd, she did try to differentiate herself. I mean, she got called out for it and she wasn't supposed to.
Yeah,
But
she was like, "Get back! What are you
tried.
doing? Get
Which
away!"
was sad. But she kept trying, and I had to appreciate that. Also, I liked her character design. And Emmy, the cat drawing girl that was taught, or that was helped by Thomas's best girl. I liked A, her art design a lot, and B, like, you actually got to see her grow as an key animator. And that's, like, one of the few people who, like, I cared about watching grow. I don't know. Also, like, she went through a lot of speed bumps on the way there, so I'm gonna give it to those two.
Alright.
Mostly because I didn't care about any other characters. Director's pretty close, though.
Okay, yeah, the director's pretty close. I'd say Shizuka, and second best would probably be Goth Lolly, actually. I just liked her way of dealing with everything.
But she wasn't. She only became Goth Lolly to hide herself.
Yeah, I was gonna say her way of dealing with something was like, I don't know how to draw, so I will become
Yeah.
A character.
than she drew.
I will
Yes.
be the
And
anime
then
character.
never stopped. But also never got in. That's what got me. She did it once, but then didn't get into a different character. So
I think
She
it was-
really liked the
it
character
was
of
because-
Goth Lolly.
It was because, that one character was giving her a lot of trouble.
Mhm.
Yeah, well,
I get that. I'm still just like, if you have to get into character, or like if you're going to get into character, stick with it. Except different characters. Don't stick with the one.
but the one was so tropey, it was fun.
Yeah. So,
Implying that
Is-
the other ones wouldn't be.
Touche.
So-
is it safe to say though that we've kind of covered characters then?
How much hatred have I given Toru? Because I can
Not
give,
enough.
I can. All right, so
He's
Toro.
not Shitanya.
He's my Nashitanya. For those of you who watched last week, you know that Steven killed maybe the entire show of just hating Nashitanya from Roka. And you know what? He wasn't wrong to. However, my turn. Toro, why? Why do you have a job?
He was just annoying. Like I
Yeah.
didn't like him at all.
No one did.
So many of the problems that they faced. Like, I hate. There's nothing I hate more than when a book or a movie or anything uses miscommunication as its major plot point for, like, the problems. And I realize miscommunications happen in real life and they can lead to problems, but it still feels like lazy writing. I am sorry. Everything about Toru is just, oh, I goofed. Oh, if you had put literally anybody else on this task, this anime would have been done like 2 months ago and we wouldn't have had a problem.
That is not true.
Eating,
Except
That
the
was
director.
entirely on the director.
Fair, however, like, even the animation problem, where the 2D and the 3D animator, like, hated each other until they watched Evangelion, Gundam together. It was like, if you had just put anybody who wasn't Toru in charge of this, we wouldn't have had a problem.
And yet they brought him along to the museum thing to watch
They
it.
brought him along for everything.
What?
They kept him there the entire time. They kept putting him in charge of things. And everyone is just like, shut up. Stop talking. Why do you have a job? But they never fired him.
He's one of the assistant producers. That's like one of the most important jobs.
But nobody liked him. And he never did
And he
his
wasn't
job.
good at it.
I
And
do
then,
wanna-
like, when they were hiring new people for aerial girls, and their motivation was, it doesn't really matter who we hire because they can't be worse than Toro even if they're awful.
Yeah.
Why do you have him?
All right.
And then
This is
she has-
actually part of my rant.
Go, child, go. Be
Okay, rant time. Let's do this. All right. This is mostly about characters. I thought that the characters were done so well, not because of any backstory. Okay?
Which they had none of.
I think that anime right now has this weird crutch where all of the characterization in a character comes from backstory. This anime does not do that, and yet I still got attached to so many characters because they interacted with each other, because they did so many things with each other. I even liked Taro the second time around, not the first time, the second time. I liked him the second time because I didn't pick up on this like the first time because I hated him so much in the first half. The second half with like the new assistant producers, you know the one guy, the blonde guy who
The dick.
was basically crestfallen. He was like a dick. He basically turned everything in at the last second. Taro was being such a good friend to him. Like, I don't even know why, because he was such a dick. But because they were stuck in the same position where everyone basically hated them, they became friends, and like the only reason I even realized this was because of that one beer scene where
The one time Hiroka smiled.
yeah, because Taro was like, we gotta take on the world together, man. And like, that alone is enough to make me like him. Because despite him being so incompetent, his incompetence is what makes him a better friend to hear. Oh, I forgot his name. But like, that's only like one example. The relationship between Honda and the director was also another one, where you only got to see the director's backstory, and there are only like 2 or 3 backstories in this entire anime. But Honda was just as important in that relationship, and you could feel the significance of both of them, despite only the director having a backstory. Honda was being incredibly patient with him. He was being a good human being, but at the same time an anime character, in the sense that like he was doing more than a normal human being would probably do.
Are you implying in real life we don't lock directors in cells if they're not writing fast enough?
I
But,
mean,
like-
they might. We don't know the anime industry. It's brutal.
Yeah, but in real life, they actually have it go all the way up to the ceiling.
Oh,
Oh,
They think ahead. See, in real life they didn't used to, but then they started watching Shirobako and they're like, oh, that's a good idea.
yeah, and I'm gonna say after Allan's rant, I'm surprised Vaughn didn't talk about character interactions, but they were
All right.
They were
All right.
great.
Let me tell you why I didn't talk about character interactions. Because only specific character interactions were good, and those same characters would fall flat when talking to somebody else. Honda
Yeah.
and the director were incredible together, but I couldn't stand the director when it wasn't Honda by his side pushing him to do things.
Oh, I love
Because-
Because then he just kind of fell into, with the exception of she's right here, which was fun. The director wasn't worth anything by himself. Like, I know he's the director and these things are his ideas and whatnot, but without Honda pushing him around, it really didn't feel like he contributed anything. And I'm
Honestly,
sure he
No.
did, but
I completely disagree, actually. Because after Honda left, the director was still important, and he still did stuff.
somehow.
did
Well,
stuff.
I almost think that the director may have been more developed than the vast majority of the other characters, honestly.
He
Because,
didn't learn
like,
from his mistakes by himself.
That's true. That is true, but like
My-
you really got to see him as a person, like his personality and how he functions.
It felt shallow, I don't know.
The entire point of my rant is that a lot of anime these days focus entirely on the backstory, but when you actually get to see them interacting with everyone else, they're a trope. They don't actually do anything besides their role. These characters did stuff, they have their own lives. Yano-san had a dad that was ill, but we didn't focus on that because normal people don't pry into other people's lives, but we still got a sense that it was important, it happened, and then when she came back, it was a great moment.
You know, I also want to talk about how like it was almost. Is this characters? We're still in characters. Well, I mean, I guess it kind of attributes to characters, but it's like almost all of it is in the animation studio, like, or like on the way there, or in other animation studios.
Or in
is-
Zuka's bar.
It is the story of both those 5 girls and the entire animation studio.
Or in a car because racing anime.
Or in a car because of racing anime.
Dude, that guy's shoes were awesome. Ever noticed that they're like long and thin and like, he had like. His toes probably weren't even touching the pedal. It was probably just like the empty shoe that just came out, jutting at it, and was pushing that. It's crazy.
Her penchant for fast driving was like the only characterization I got of the main character that I cared about.
Oh,
No, listen. She was a trope. I want anybody to argue on me on this one. She was the
That
most
spot though.
dull main character ever, just like every other main character of every other anime.
yeah,
But-
that was my one. That's probably why I gave characters an 8. Like that went heavily into it because
She-
she was a shell.
Yeah,
She was
Just
the
like-
shell of a
I can
human
agree
being,
with that.
and you spent an obnoxious amount of time with her.
At least she wasn't whiny. Otherwise, I would have probably not finished the show.
We had Toru for that.
Yeah, but
Fair.
he wasn't as big a focus as she was, as Taoi.
He was still there too much.
I mean, director was more whiny, but he was likable.
Director was likably whiny. I called him useless, but at least he was likable.
Um,
I'll still call him useless, though. I did like when they were doing Aerial Girls, like how serious he answered about wanting to stay true to the manga.
mhm.
Though that didn't go great.
I mean, he did his best. The manga wasn't finished, so
The mangaka was a dick. Well, we
No,
thought-
the
No.
mangaka wasn't a
mangaka's
dick.
assistant. The mangaka's
Yeah.
assistant was a dick. Let me
I thought-
rephrase.
I thought that part of the story fell a little flat too.
Oh,
Just
yes.
because like I knew that like it was pretty obvious. Well, I mean, he's not talking to the actual writer. It's
Oh,
very
no.
obvious.
It was another miscommunication. Plot points.
I mean, it wasn't really a miscommunication, more so than it was just a big problem. Like, just one person being a big problem. There was no communication.
Yeah, yeah.
That still counts as plot by miscommunication. In the same way, we spent like what 2 episodes with
Yeah, but that-
Aoi
that
looking for a horse
happens.
animator, and then as it turns out, the world's best horse animator was in your studio the whole time.
That was a little wild, but
And
I
it was
also-
sweet that he said yes, and that like they did it, and he felt useful again, and he taught a thing.
I liked with old dude though that he in the beginning there's twin tail girl when she's like still on
His advice was not always sound.
is she like was having trouble drawing everything in time, and he like gives her some pointers, and she's like, "Oh, thank you," and then fucks everything up.
I liked that a lot too, though. Actually, before the horse thing, I was like, is he secretly a villain? Is he trying to screw whoever? As it turns out, no. As it turns out, no, I got excited for nothing. But I did really like that because I was like, aha! And then the horse. But I did like that she was like, I will take his advice, for he has been here longer and will know he is perfect, and therefore I will be perfect. Follows his advice, screws everything up.
All right. All right. Can we talk about the likenesses now, like Kano and his anime Neon Generation Avangalon Avangalon
New generation
versus
Evangalon.
versus Ano and Neon Genesis Evangelion, and the characters looked the character looked exactly like the real man.
Like, I don't care if it was made in 1995. I've seen it. I'm 2 years younger than this character, than the Aoi, the main character, and I've seen it. She's in the industry to create anime, and she
Evangelion's
has
a little
seen it.
important. Evangelion's like a little bit important in the industry.
Just a little bit.
I mean, like whether or not you think it's good, which will be a discussion for another podcast.
Oh God.
Spoiler warning. But it was very important, and she was like, "No, I actually joined the anime industry having only watched Chucky, and I literally don't watch anything else." It's like, why are you here?
Because
I mean, a lot
he's
of people do that.
Chucky.
It's actually quite common.
Her thing was that she works hard, and she does. And she's the one that got, like,
Everything going.
sorted out.
Yeah. You're a natural. One other thing though with her, she's like, I don't know what I want to do in the future. Wow, you are a natural producer. You are doing production very well. I don't know what I want to do in the future. What am I good at? Wow, look at how good you're productioning everything. What can I bring that all my friends can't do? Look at how talented your production skills are. What is it that I can do, but they do not know how to do? What experience do I have?
I don't want to rewatch the show, Javon. I get it.
I mean, she feels like she's not doing anything. Like
Yeah.
she is, but she feels like she's not. She wants to have a more hands-on part. Like she wants to draw or something. She doesn't
'Cause,
want to
like-
just keep running around telling other people what to do.
Because like how she feels is like everyone else is sort of contributing to what other people see, and she's not. She's making sure everything runs smoothly.
That's the man.
She wants to be in the creative process.
Basically, yeah. What next?
I mean, could just be a shorter than usual episode because I don't really have anything left to say.
I don't have much else either. I don't think.
I thought I had a rant ready, like, a long time ago, but I don't.
I want to say the ending to Exodus though. What?
Wait, no, the ending was fantastic, except for the
Wait.
horse bit, which made
Yes.
no sense. No, wait,
But the
no.
horse bit was the most important
All
part.
right. In lieu of the ending to the anime,
No, but-
which is them being like, "Oh wow, we ended up all working on an anime together. Woohoo! We're gonna do it again in the future. Whatever." All right. So the ending to Exodus, I want to review that because that made me happy on the inside. I love how they went through all this deliberation, came out with like the most generic anime ending you could think of, where it's the kind of ending that I love though personally, where it's like all of the friends that they made along the way all come back to save them from the cops, and then they win over the cops, which is weird. And then a cowboy shows up with 100 horses. Who is he? I guess they met him along the way? Question mark. And then howdy. And then they get on the horse, and then they switch horses because of course they do. And then they jump on a plane that big sis who betrayed them came back with. And then they say, we're gonna sing again in the future. And you know what? It sounded stupid as hell. I loved it.
It was okay until the cowboy showed up with 100 horses, and he said, "Howdy."
I like to assume they met the cowboy on their travels.
No.
I remember one of the things I wanted to talk about is it's the animation, especially when they show a computer screen of CGI, and so like I remember at one point maybe like episode 7, 8, I don't know,
they're doing the explosion
later
shots?
part of the first half. What?
When they're doing the explosion shots.
Yeah, like it was so cool seeing within like the actual animation having the 3D within that and combining it without integrating it.
Also,
Yeah,
I just
I know what you mean.
that's
I
all.
have to say that that whole debate they were going through with like, should we do key animation, like drawing, or should we do CG? And then they showed it, and I thought the CG looked better, and like, I kind of have a new appreciation because I don't know.
Yeah.
Very
Most
rarely
CG I
these
don't
days do we
like.
see CG
There are
used
certain
well.
things that CG can do and like
Mhm.
animation can't. There's certain camera angles that you can't do with key animation because it just looks really weird when they're just flat. Um,
Or like
it's
like
really hard
Mark
to get it right with
Race.
key animation.
You can't do the spinning camera without CG.
Roka has proven otherwise.
A lot of their background was CG though.
That's true.
Anyway, there was like one more part of my rant that I never got to, but I can't remember what it was at this point.
You're free to say rude things about Toru. I mean, I know you just said you appreciate his character. However, if you just feel like saying rude things, I'm okay with that.
I actually don't have much to say about him. Like I said, I actually have a appreciation for his character. I don't like him as a person, but I do like that his awkwardness, both in the way that he works and his sort of relationship with other people, sort of carried between the two, and he was consistent, and yet you saw two sides of him anyway, right? You saw awkwardness in trying to be a friend, but also awkwardness in trying to do his job and failing. Yeah.
I I think we probably need to move on soon, but the last thing I want to say is we did not get enough of voice actor girl at all. Like, we
Zuka
saw-
needed so much more.
We saw everyone else like mature and like start achieving their dreams, and she got 5 lines at the end, so like cool, but she was not present in the show, which she didn't work there, so I guess it makes sense.
Well, I
think-
mean, half of them didn't work there, in fairness.
I think that's the
but then
point,
they
though, right?
started to, and they could have easily put her in there, but yeah, I guess she failed. I guess that's the
Voice
point, but-
acting is hard to get into. Like, compared to the
Yeah.
other ones, like, I guess production is also pretty hard, but also you don't need as many qualifications. Key animation, there are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. If you've ever seen like an actual studio, there are a lot of animators. CG, same thing. And then
Still-
the writing girl got really lucky. Like, real lucky. She
Yeah.
could have easily ended up worse than Shizuka.
Still, I think for terms of this anime and quality of characters, they should have done more with her.
I think
They
they
could
did a
have done
lot
more
with her
with her.
though. You didn't get to see her with the actual animation studio, but you did get to see a lot of her as
Yeah.
opposed to the other ones.
You saw her feeling ostracized as well when she found out the whole gang is working together, but her. That stung.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I'd still have liked to see more of Zuka. I won't lie. We saw her apply for I think 2 gigs.
Yes. She
Yeah,
applied for
it's
2
the one-
jobs,
The
had that
thing.
one job with the kids. We saw her at the bar. Like, there were a lot of scenes with her. It's just that they didn't feel like much because she wasn't like doing anything really significant except, voice
I didn't
acting.
get anything out of her as a person. I just got like what she's trying to accomplish.
That's true.
Like, I don't feel like I know. Like, the rest of the characters, I felt more like I knew them as a person. Like I was saying with the director, you got to know his personality, how he functions. And I'd say that for most of the characters. Like, Taro is just very narcissistic. Like, I still don't know what her personality was. She was very bland. I know what she was trying to do. I know she kind of failed at it, but she was trying really hard. We don't know who she was. So.
And with that, I'll transfer my best girl fully to Emmy.
Yeah.
So, do we want to go to final thoughts and ratings, or I
Okay, that's
All right,
Okay,
switching
Desert.
over.
So, When it comes to my final score, I think we know that I didn't love this show very much. It should also be said that this is not my kind of genre. This this is not where I excel. This is not where I am interested. In all honesty, I don't care about slice of lives very much, and they bore me. So that doesn't count things like Torador or Clannad, which are a lot more like there's a romantic plot or a drama or something happening. With Shirobako, it was just we're gonna make this thing, and it bored me. So
Rom-com's different than slice of life.
that's what I'm saying. So
Like, I though did appreciate that they didn't try to shoehorn in any kind
oh,
of.
I'm very
yes.
pleased that they didn't do that. However, that doesn't mean I enjoyed it. I
That
appreciate
was
that
my
they
other
didn't
part of
shoehorn
the
anything in, but that doesn't mean I got interested in the show because of it. And with all that in mind, I got bored. I could barely finish, and 6.5.
That was my other part of the rant. I guess I'll never get to it though. I give it an 8. I think it's an excellent example of a slice of life, and what a slice of life can do. So, 8. Not much to say otherwise.
I gave it a 7. I would recommend it as like one of the first anime I would be getting someone into to watch. I would not watch it with them, but I would tell them to watch it because I think it gives a good. It's more informational than it is entertaining. I think it gives a good or like it shows what they go through for each thing, and I appreciated it for that. But beyond that, I honestly I probably would have given it a lower score if I didn't just like it teaching me things.
Okay. I gave it a double donuts. I mean an 8.
I hate you.
We didn't mention. They keep bringing up.
Okay.
Donuts.
You want
Let's
you want
go
the story?
first.
You want the story, Steven? So, the first day I decided to watch this show, I was like,
Shitting
okay,
my
we have to
ratings.
review this. We have to review this. I'm gonna turn it on. I'm gonna watch Shirobako, and I'll take notes. I turn it on. We go in a circle of 5 identical characters with slightly different hair, and then they put donuts together and yell, "Don't donuts, let's go nuts." I close the window immediately and say, "Tomorrow." Tomorrow I start Shirobako.
That was also the image. Well, not that scene, but another scene where Aoi was mentioning donuts. That was on the waiting screen.
But
Yeah, but
donuts.
the moment that happened, I just closed the window and said to myself, maybe tomorrow.
Look, I think y'all need to appreciate some donuts.
I think you need to stop saying it.
I gave it an 8. I've seen quite a few slice of life, and I think this was done pretty well in terms of that, and just in terms of the show in general. I think the characters were great. It was a pretty character-driven show, I'd say. They overcame their struggles. They got their anime done, and then at the end they landed a new one. Yeah, I gave it an 8. I thought it was pretty good overall. It's one of the better slice of life I've seen, I think.
Oh, I do remember, Jovan, you were trying to figure out what their final goal is. Their final goal is to make it's a little late to talk about this, but it's to make the anime that they made in
Yeah, the 7 Lucky Gods.
I know.
Yeah.
It just...
We just never talked about that.
And then the final scene is them putting 5 donuts together, saying donuts, let's go nuts. And then beams of light shoot out and create a golden ship in the sky with
Every so
7
often, their
lucky
hallucinations
gods
became
on
real life, and we just accepted it.
I
Yeah,
loved
it
it
was-
when
She's
the
right
director
here.
went into the building to meet the mangaku. God,
Yeah.
that
No,
was-
I did. Those hallucinations, I think, were done well. They were just showing what everybody was imagining. It showed, like, creative process. I don't think it was, like, a weird thing. So, I think that was just a personification, or, like, an embodiment of people's dreams that's shown for us. So,
I thought it was a little weird how they all were like staring at it every
that
time.
was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird that they were all, like, physically waving to it, but I just kind of accepted and moved on.
It
It
feels
wasn't,
like-
it wasn't show-breaking. It wasn't show-breaking like a certain hallucination I don't want to talk about.
It if it was in one person's head, it would have made more sense to me. But when they're all like excited and waving, I'm like, are you all high? I don't know.
They're all high. Those donuts.
They're really going nuts.
All right, Tom.
All right,
And my misery. Do you already give a score?
he did.
I did.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, cool.
Well, next time.
Next time on Dragon Ball
Guys, can we all say the thing at the end?
What thing? Oh, the donuts thing.
No,
Please.
no. So, next show is Uchouten Kazoku. I read the My Anime List summary, and the only thought I have is what? So, Thomas, would you like me to read that, or would you like to just describe it yourself?
I got it.
All right,
So-
this is recommended by Thomas, by the way.
Right. So this show is about this tanuki, the bear, the dog raccoon thing, raccoon dogs, and in it uses a lot of Japanese mythology and folklore to just for its characters. It doesn't really have that as the main plot so much, but it's all about this main character, and he's like a good for nothing, but he's like all that's left for his family. So it's very family oriented in that it deals with lineages, genealogies, and he needs to bring like honor to that because his eldest brother's incapable of doing it, or both his elder brothers are incapable of doing it, and he also has to look after his little brother, and they have a rivalry with another tanuki thing, and he falls in love with a part human, or maybe she's totally human, and so it's just him living. It's a drama, and it's him living in the shadow of his father after his father was eaten. I liked it.
All right.
Well, that's the summary. It's no less weird than the My Anime List one, but at least we have
He can change himself to look human.
slightly more normal now. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe start with that one. All right, so that's what we're doing in 2 weeks' time. It will be back on Monday. We're sorry that we postponed this time. Life happens. Blame Steven. So, with all that in mind, is there anything you guys want to tell the fans before we head out? Oh, right. No, there is one thing.
donuts.
If you like
No.
Slice of Light's lives, message me. I could probably give you a few.
There is one thing. I would like everybody to wish our shadow director and guy who keeps the show running fluidly.
Happy birthday, Allan!
Happy birthday, Allan!
Oh God, why is he upside down?
I like how you just noticed.
I was staring at like. Okay. I don't know how you guys imagine me sitting here, but I stare at the overlay while we're talking. So I don't notice when things happen like that until
That's
someone reacts and I look over.
All right, well, happy birthday, Allan. If all had gone well, we would have actually had his birthday pod on his birthday, but once more, blame Steven.
It was Monday.
Sorry.
Implying the rest of us finished by Monday.
I had a paper.
Yeah. So, happy birthday, Allan. I'm glad we got to do your show, Shirobako, for it. Well, I'm not that glad I didn't love it, but happy birthday. And with that, I guess we'll bid you all adieu. Peace out. Goodbye.
Bye.
So long. Farewell.
Bye. Donuts.
No.